believe that what you affirm repeatedly becomes your reality. I had these really compelling affirmations of why I was doing it that were so compelling that when I felt like giving up and I was scared, I'm like, no, I'm committed to beating cancer for Ursula because I promised her forever and a day. And my mom and dad don't deserve to lose another child, and on and on. And then I had all my affirmations of what I would do to beat it, like how I would approach it in terms of my mindset, in terms of the supplements I was taking, in terms of the holistic protocols and practices, how I was using my Miracle Morning to beat cancer, like all of that. And every day I would read, it was in one page, I would read that, and it would focus my mind, my beliefs, my emotions on, I got this. Yeah. I'm beating cancer. I'm going to heal myself. The challenging part was I had to simultaneously prepare to die in terms of logistics.
Today on the show, we have the one and only Hal Elrod. We're going to talk about Hal Elrod, the human. We're going to talk about his ranch out here in Austin, Texas. And we're going to talk about what it's like being a family man, raising chickens, and prepping for the future. You've always done a good job of is you've put yourself in a position to get lucky, right? Like, and so list the house, put it at a number you would take. Yeah. And if you get lucky, take it and then go find your next thing. But if you don't, you'll get lucky somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's what I told her. That's what Ursula kind of, she's like, and in her verbiage, I'm like, we'll put it on the market, leave it up to God. If it's what's supposed to happen, we're great. And if not, so.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's like anything where she's like, I love the house, I don't want to move. And I'm like, what if you found something that you liked even more? She's like, okay, then I want to move. I'm like, okay, well, if we get $4 million, we have a lot of options.
Yeah, we can go find whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. And ideally it'd be building at this, which is what we should have done. Yeah. Because it was like kind of fear-based almost, like COVID, all the craziness. Like we were like, let's find, we wanted to find somewhere where we could be self-sustainable. Right. Like when everything shut down and like you couldn't get groceries and you couldn't get, we're kind of like, whoa, this feels like we're not fully in control. Like, what if the supply chains were going out, like falling apart, and you couldn't get things?
Well, look at eggs right now.
Right now,
people are going nuts for eggs.
Yeah,
they want
eggs. That's right.
I mean, it's nuts.
And so it's like I want us to be able to where we can grow food. I think it might have been John Ruhlin before he passed away. I think might have been Ruhlin where he said, someone told me. They go, I think we might get to a point where the only way you can eat healthy food is to grow it. Because, like, if you look at the way that society and the big companies are moving, right? It's like you go to the grocery store, it's like 2% of the grocery store is healthy food. Right. And he's like, so I'm like, oh, that's like eating healthy is so important to me.
So you grow and your own vegetables, your own fruits.
Yeah, but we still, that's a very minimal part of our diet. Right. I eat eggs every day that we, from our chickens. And then Ursula, like, she slaughters. So we have a dual-sided chicken coop, one for meat birds that we raise and fatten up. And then, once they're done, she slaughters them and then, or processes them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And she does it the most humane way. And she prays over them. It's really sweet. And then we have our egg-laying birds. And then same thing, we raised our Thanksgiving turkey the last couple of years, and
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So we have 2 miniature potbelly pigs.
Okay.
And I didn't know this about potbelly pigs, but they reach breeding maturity at 2 to 3 months old, and they're only pregnant for about 120 days. So we bought them when they were about 6 weeks old, thinking like, oh, it's gonna be so cute, they're gonna be so fun, and then like immediately they like started banging, right? Like they're like into it. So one of our pigs is pregnant.
Okay.
And when she has babies, I'm gonna have to give you some of the babies because I think you should add little potbelly pigs because then she could raise those and either just cute, cool things to do, or you could have pork.
Yeah, talk to her. She loves bacon, dude. So
does she?
Yeah, it's not a hard sell. I
talked to her. They're cute. Yeah. They're cute and they're easy to take care of. Yeah. I mean, even the chickens are pretty easy to take care of. They'll eat anything.
Yeah. Oh, they will.
It's kind of gross.
Oh, the chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we bring home all leftovers and just give them whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, chickens are fun. They're like I love their personality. Like they're fun to have running around the ranch and like I'll be laying out by the pool and like chickens are coming up. Like,
so they're free range.
Yeah. Totally. Free range.
Any issues with coyotes or foxes or any of that stuff?
Yeah. Only at night. So we put them. We always close them up at night. When we didn't close them up, they got some got eaten or whatever. But yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And then our turkeys are funny, man. They roost in the trees.
Really?
So they like every night right around like sunset, they like get a run and they like have to push themselves up and then they like chill in a tree all night long, like up high.
And you don't have to worry about them leaving? Like no, they just
they've never left.
I guess because you feed them and water them. And they don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I'm trying to think. Where do we feed? Or maybe they just free range.
Wow.
Because like the chickens have their feed in the run, but I feel like I don't.
So you're totally removed from the chicken?
I mean, no, not really. So we have horses too. So
you do?
So I mean, every morning I feed all the animals, right? Like, but in terms of like being the rancher that like is thinking through, replacing feed, make it like what, she does everything. And she does. And also I processed chickens once and I was like, I don't really like this, man. And she's just a machine. She's like a farmer, totally. She's like, this is circle of life. Like, this is how it works, and I'm like, all right.
So have you made feeding the animals like a part of your morning routine? Like you go out there and get out in nature and get grounded and feed the animals?
Yeah. Well, it's only recent. She was doing it for a long time. And then recently, I watched this guy, he's called the mental load coach.
Okay.
And he talks about how like your wife's mental load where you're just, yes, you have work mental load, but then you come home and it's pretty much like, she's taking care of everything. And she literally is. It's like, what are we going to feed the kids? What's for breakfast? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? What's laundry? Clean the house, right? Grocery shopping. And he said, and when you ask her like, hey, what can I do to help? It just adds to her mental load. She's like, don't you see all the things that are in here, right?
Yeah.
So it really impacted me. And I was like, hey, sweetie, what's your least favorite chore that you do? She's like, dishes by far. And I would, I'd help her here and there. And usually if she asked, right? Yeah. And I go, hey, you never have to do dishes again. As long as I'm here, you never have to do dishes again. She's like, what? And I was like, it's my chore from now on. And you won't have to remind me. She's like, okay, we'll see. Right.
Yeah.
And that's been probably like 2 or 3 months. And it's like, I'm doing every dishes every night. And then recently I was like, wait, she's like making the kids breakfast. She's making them lunch. And then all I do is make them waters. It takes me 2 minutes. And then she goes and feeds the animals and like comes back and then takes one of the kids. And I take one of the kids to school. But I was like, what? Why am I not like, that's the least I could do.
Yeah.
So my case was like, it's only like 2 weeks. Sweetie, I'm feeding the animals in the morning. She's like, why? I'm like, because I should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's really like helped me to be actually like notice how can I make her life easier, so yeah.
And do you like it? Do you like feeding the animals?
I don't mind it. Yeah.
I mean,
I like, I love living things, right? So plants, animals, but I mean, I'd probably rather not do it.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't mind it. And so I feed our turtle. We have a 37-year-old tortoise, Tank. His name's Tank. I feed him and, he takes every day an apple, carrot and lettuce. And then, so feed him. Then I go feed the cats in the barn. We had a barn. And then I go feed the horses on the bottom of the property. Then I come back, and if Tank's done eating, I let the chickens out because otherwise they just take all of his food.
Right.
And then I feed the dogs, right? So yeah, that's my...
So do you ride the horses or just...
Ursula has,
she has.
But not often.
No.
Yeah.
The way you get to the life you desire is by getting in rooms you don't think you deserve to be into. And this is an opportunity for you to get into a room that most oftentimes in the year you will not have the ability to get into. The Austin Entrepreneurial Summit powered by GoBundance is the only time we open the doors of GoBundance to the public. This event is packed with some powerful speakers and incredible people from the GoBundance community that will pour into you on your journey of success and help you achieve the life you desire. Service is the Trojan horse to knowledge, and if you want the opportunity to take your life to the next level, do yourself a service and sign up for this event. See you in Austin in May. They just gave you the horses?
Yeah, so it's funny. You'll love this story. It's a funny story. So she goes, hey, sweetheart, someone's giving away free horses. Can we have free horses? I was like, oh, I mean, if they're free, yeah. We got the bottom half of the property is fenced off because the previous owners had horses. So, and it always bugged me that I'm like, we paid for all that land. What a waste. Like, we're not doing anything with it, right? The shooting range is down there. And so she goes, they're free horses. I was like, if you're going to take care of them, like I don't want to take care of horses really, but if you'll own and be responsible, sure. Why not? She goes, awesome. She goes, and they're giving us a killer deal on the trailer. I'm like, wait, well, what? She's like, yeah, it's like a $10,000 trailer. It's only going to cost like $5,000. And I'm like, wait, how is this free to you? I'm like, the way like wife's brain works, it doesn't work, right? I mean, she works her butt off, but right, but I'm like, how? That's not free. That's gonna. No. These free horses are costing me $5,000 that I had in my pocket 10 minutes ago.
Right.
You know, and she's like, no, but it's like that. It's a $10,000 trailer. I'm like, I don't care if it's a $50,000 trailer.
It's still $5,000 for me.
$5,000 that's coming out of that we don't.
What are we gonna do with the trailer?
Yeah, and then I'm like, and what does it cost to feed him? She's like, yeah, it's all right. So now we have And now it's a point of contention, which I just realized too. Here's another, I feel like I'm being a better husband. All the time, I'm like, hey, let's get rid of these horses that we're paying $500 a month in feed for that we don't need. And then right. And then I realized recently, I was like, man, Hal, stop saying that.
Yeah.
You're stealing her joy.
Yeah.
This should be right?
It's $500.
Yeah. And I was like, so anyway, so I just recently was like, I stopped, put my affirmations in my miracle morning, like reminding myself, do not mention the horses. What else? There's one other thing that costs us money that that I bring up that I'm like, that should be a joyful, I forgot what it was. But anyway, so I'm just like, don't mention this. Let her enjoy them fully, so.
So some of your affirmations are don'ts and some of your affirmations are do's, right?
Yeah, so it's funny, affirmations are taught, everybody has their opinion, right? And it's like, all you need is like an I am statement. I am wealthy, right? That's always my joke. Is like, if you're not wealthy, you don't affirm something that's not true. That's one problem. Yeah. The other tool is that you got to affirm in the positive. Yeah. And then I always think about Tony Robbins, like what he teaches, how we'll do far more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure, right? So to me, an affirmation in its fundamental form is just a reminder of something that you deem important, that you want to keep top of mind. That's it, right? And there's infinite ways you can do that. You can affirm, I am choosing to be happy today despite my problems, right? That's great. And when you affirm that, you embody that, and it becomes your reality. Or, hey, reminder, don't freaking mention the horses and how much they cost, right? Like, stop stealing your wife's joy. Oh, yeah. So to me, that's all an affirmation is. It's a reminder. And then there's nuances of like, okay, I want to affirm beliefs that I want to instill, or I want to affirm habits and remind myself of new behaviors I want to, maintain or whatever. So,
how long have you been doing the miracle morning?
Funny, my wife and I just brought that up this morning because she just started waking up early and going to the gym at 5 a.m. It was literally right before I came here.
Really?
She was like, yeah. And I said, she's like, dude, she said, sweetheart, I was literally getting dressed to come here. And she said, sweetheart, now that I'm waking up at 5 a.m. for the gym, she's like, I've had such a productive day. It's only like 2 p.m. I get so much done. I'm like, I've been telling you that for, so what is it? It's like 17 years that I've been doing the Miracle Morning. For 17 years. Yeah. And she's like, I know. And you started doing it. I was like, oh, he better not commit. I'm like, I am not a morning person. She goes, I know it took me 17 years, but like, I'm digging it, man. You wake up early, you get so much done. I'm like,
you're like, there's only millions of people that read the book. There's only millions of people that have seen me speak. Yeah. You live with me, and yet you haven't embraced it. Yeah. That's beautiful, though. Yeah. But you just let her do her journey.
Totally. Well, in the beginning, it was I tried to push, hey, sweetheart, do this. It would benefit you. Like, you're missing out. Do this. And then at some point, I was just like, hey, here's what I think it might have been once we had kids and they became a little older and they were staying up later. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I need a partner that's down to stay up till midnight because I am in bed by 9 at the latest. And I was like, dude, you do you. But yeah, never mind. I don't want you to do Miracle Morning. Like, because then who's going to stay up with the kids and make sure they're taken care of? So if something needs to be done early, I got you. Right, but she handles it at night.
So you handle the morning, she handles the evening. But now she's going to do the morning.
But now she's doing the 5 a.m. workout. So
a lot of people would say like Hal Elrod, author of the Miracle Morning, right? A lot of people know you as the author of the Miracle Morning, Savers, all of those things. What would your kids say Hal Elrod is? Who would they say he is?
That's a great. Actually, I would love for you to ask him, and I'm actually as curious as you are, man. I think they would say dad, right? Like, he's a great dad, and it's, when I had cancer, it was going into my cancer journey. I was a workaholic, and I didn't fully. I would have been in denial about that, I think. Mm-hmm. And if you would have said, "What's your highest priority?" Like, oh, family, of course. In my heart, it was, but like, there were many days where I'm going to work a little late, sweetie. I got a deadline. I got to work on Saturday because I got a book coming out. Right? It was always like, and what I realized is I was valuing my impact for the millions of people over the impact for 3 people. Wow. And it was literally this like quantity over quality, right? Like, and so in my mind, I was on a mission given to me by God. Like, I'm supposed to help as many people as I can. I've reached a few million. There's 8 billion that, okay, I'm on a mission. This is my life. And so it was like in my mind, that's how I justified it. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a mission. And it wasn't until I went through cancer and almost lost my life. And, and then of course, I don't care about the rest of the world. It's like, all that matters is I'm going to leave these kids without a dad. Yeah. at 7 and 4. Oh my, like that, I can't reconcile that. I have to figure this out. I have to beat this thing. And then it just shifted my perspective where I'm like, oh, I've been focused on the wrong thing and prioritizing the wrong thing. And I thought family was my top priority, and they were in my heart, but not in my actions, not in my schedule, right? And so now, fast forward, a buddy of mine reached out recently, and he was like, "Hey, dude, give me an update. How are things?" I was like, "It's great." Or he said, "Yeah, what's exciting?" And I said, "What's most exciting right now?" And I hadn't put this in words in one little paragraph until this moment, and this was like 3 days ago. I said, I take my kids I get my kids, help get my kids ready for school, take care of our animals in the morning and help my wife, then help the kids get ready for school. Then I drive my daughter to school. And I work for, the day. I'm playing basketball 2 days a week for an hour a day, full court 5-on-5 basketball at 45. It's like, I'm blown away that I'm even keeping up. I'm playing pickleball with my wife, couples pickleball on Fridays. Then I pick my son up every day from school and I take him to the YMCA and we work out.
Wow.
And I was like, that was just the first, and I was like, and work's going pretty well too. Our app's growing, our books are, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, that first paragraph that I just read, I was like, dude, I'm doing it. I'm winning. I'm living in alignment with my values of actually making family first, so.
And has the business come easier now that you're living in alignment with your values, or has it been harder?
Harder, both. It's interesting because as a solopreneur for most of my journey, I still have the, I got to get everything done. And then, bringing people and then bringing on team members where, David Osborne actually has, when he did an assessment with me, it was 5 years ago, trying to help with my business. And I think I sent him some personality assessments I had taken, and he's assessing me and he goes, "Hal, I think I figured you out." He's like, "You're not a CEO. You're technically the CEO of the Miracle Morning." He's like, "But that's not your strength, your skill set." He goes, "You're a performer. You're a communicator. You go on stage, you go on a podcast, you write a book. You can move people, right? That's your skill set. But managing people and organizing and thinking about all the details of a business, not your skill set." I was like, "Oh, you're totally right." So most people that I bring on my team, it ends up now they're sucking my time because they're like, "Hal, we need this, we need that, we need this." It's only recently that I brought on some team members that are really our little Matt Kings, right? They're self-sufficient, self-reliant, and so I'm still in that. I mentioned, this is like a rebuilding year of my business.
Yeah,
it's part of it is I brought on Jeremy Reisig.
Yeah.
So I brought Jeremy Reisig on. I tried to bring him on a year and a half ago, and he was like, "Nah, I want to do my own thing." And he spent a year pursuing his own thing and realized. We reconnected. He was asking for some advice, and he realized, wait, Miracle Morning, it's he's been doing it since 2009. I taught it to him before there was a book.
Wow.
As a buddy. So there's that. And he's like, wait a minute. He just kind of realized everything I want to do, I could do bigger, better, faster. I could reach more people by aligning with Hal and the Miracle Morning. So he and I have been having we are I've never enjoyed working with someone so much. So this is the first time in a while that and then Josh runs our app. So he's already he's grown the app phenomenally. But anyway, so point being, in terms of whether it's been easier or harder, it's challenging.
It's just a journey.
For sure. Well, what's challenging is there's so much on my plate, and I'm trying to play basketball 2 days. I'm trying to put quality of life and playing basketball 2 days a week and pickleball and picking the kids up. It gives me I have more to do than I can get done because I'm not working all the time. So that's where it's challenging.
So it's hard to delegate some of the things because you, at the end of the day, are the creative, right?
Yeah.
You're the creative.
Yeah. There's just a lot of things that I'm needed for, and also doing podcast interviews, right? I can't delegate that. I can't delegate speeches. There's certain things that I have to do. And so my to-do list is hard to get done every week because I'm throwing basketball in. And every Tuesday, Thursday, I'm like, I have so much to do. I should just get basketball. And I force myself to go because I'm like, no, if that's I'll never go. And this is something I want to do for years is play full court basketball, get back into it. So.
And you're having fun.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. And it's challenging. My buddy invited me. Do you know Dane Espegard? I
don't know.
So Dane has been playing basketball for a while at Hill Country Indoor. And he invited me a while back. And I had two excuses. I was like, A, my cardio, dude, I can't do full court basketball. I don't have any cardio. And then B, I haven't played in a long, like, and I was like, how are the guys good there? He's like, oh, they're really good. I'm like, as good as you, because he's good. He's like, a lot of guys better than me. I was like, dude, I'm not like, I'm not ready. And then going into this year, I was like, I need to do cardio. I can't just lift. And then a buddy was like, why don't you do basketball? You love basketball. And I was like, yeah, Dane invited me. I was like, I just got to get over my fear. Who cares if I suck it up? Like, whatever. I'm going to go fail forward. Yeah. And so I've only been playing for like, I think I played my 6th, maybe my 8th, day in a row.
But you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Are you getting better? Is it coming back a little?
Yeah. Yes and no. It's the psychological, man. Like, I think the first game I went like 1 for 2.
Not that you were counting.
Yeah. I mean, every shot, right? I'm nervous because these guys are so good, right? You don't want to let them down, and they're competitive, and so so it's like when I'm warming up, I'm shooting 80%. I'm like, dude, I'm on. And then as soon as I'm in the game, and I'm like, oh, I got the ball. Like, it's that split second doubt of like, I don't want to, I'm open. I should shoot, right? Like, all that happens in a split second, and then I shoot and I miss, and I'm like, oh, God, man, no, I let him down. I'm like, all right, and then I get the ball again, and I'm open. I'm like, I should shoot, and then so like one game I went 1 for 4, and I'm like, oh, okay, I made 1 though. I made 1, right? I think it was my first game. Then I went 1 for 2. I was like, then I went 0 for 4 in the last game. I was like, oh, so today I went 0 for 1. Anyway, so it's challenging, just like to have the confidence to like be scoring and not letting your teammates down. And so, yeah.
Well, what's cool about that is like a lot of people would see you speak and they would say like, wow, he's so confident. He's so strong. He's so brave. They hear you on a podcast like, wow, he's so confident. I want to be that.
Yeah.
But there are still moments in your life where like that isn't who you are, right? We all have our fears. We all have our doubts, but you, like you just said, fail forward and keep pushing forward. I
think for everybody, right? Like we're confident in the things that we feel competent in. Competence breeds confidence.
Yes.
Right. And if I had, and that's my hope, is that by continuing to suck it up on the court, and the biggest thing was like just the cardio was like, that's step 1. If I can't breathe, I can't shoot, I can't do anything. So like first week I played 1, they'll play 3, 4, 5, 6 games. I played 1 game and I left. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm out of breath. Like, that was cool. Yeah. And then I finally built up to 2 games, right? So now I'm at 2 games and like just taking it easy. But so that's kind of step 1. And then I'm trying to be Dennis Rodman out there, right? Which if anybody like, I was watching a Rodman documentary the other day, and it's like he was the best rebounder, great at passing, and great at defense, right? So I'm like, I don't need to be the guy with the ball shooting. I need to be the playmaker. So I'm trying to get better at just those aspects, and that way all my teammates are like, dude, Hal hustles, man. He's diving for rebounds. So that way I gain their respect, and Hal's not, shooting and missing all day, right? And then that way I can kind of earn the right to take some shots. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
But you're still a student. Like you're watching Dennis Rodman's documentary and adopting that to how you're going to go play pickup ball in Texas.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, and that you do that everywhere in your life. You're just a student.
Yeah.
Do you think you were born that way? Do you think you got that from your parents? Like what made you this student of life?
Not at all. I mean, I was a terrible student in school, right? Didn't enjoy learning. And I don't know that I still even enjoy, being a student. Like, I don't know, I'm not as I'd like to be more curious. I hang out with Jeremy Reisig, and he's one of the most, he is a student, man. He is curious and he masters things and goes deep. And, I feel like I don't know if I go as deep, but no, I think it's just when I learned or was introduced to personal development when I was 19 and started selling Cutco and started reading personal development books. I think that just got me like, oh, wow, you can learn how to get better and think better and do better. And so I think that really got me interested.
And then from a positivity perspective, I say this all the time. Like when I meet people, I'm like, Hal Elrod is one of the most positive people I have ever met. Like I was fortunate when you guys were visiting Austin, Texas to move here. I got to pick you guys up from the airport and take you to David's house. And then when you got on your cancer journey, like I got to be a part of how that was all going down. I mean, David was very involved and we saw it. You never once, probably internally there was some doubts and some fear, but externally there was never doubt. It was like, I'm beating cancer. How do you stay so positive in the face of adversity? Yeah,
I think that it's just, one way to, what I would answer that is it's a strategy, right? Like when I was in my car accident at 20 and told I would never walk again, I was like, all right, accepting or believing that I'm never going to walk again probably won't lend itself to me walking again. Mm-hmm. But if I pray that I'm going to walk again and I visualize walking again and I and I focus on and I affirm that it might be, that I'm going to shoot, it's possible. Maybe I will. And, 3 weeks after I was found dead at the scene and broke my femur in half and my pelvis 3 places and doctors said I'd never walk again, the doctors came in with routine x-rays and they're like, we don't know how to explain this. But Hal, your body's healing miraculously. I was like, really? I'm like, you're going to walk, you can walk today. And I was thinking maybe 1 year off, not
Right.
3 weeks later, right? I took my first step. And because I was 19 when that happened, I think that really was like a empowering, oh, whoa, if that's possible, what else is possible? And the day I was diagnosed with cancer, um, you know, I had Ursula was out of town. I had to call her and tell her she was on a trip visiting my grandma that I couldn't go to because I was in the hospital trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I didn't want my grandma to miss out on seeing her great grandkids. So I sent Ursula, but I had to call her and tell her over the phone that I had cancer. And, she was terrified, of course, crying. And then we find out it's a 20 to 30% survival rate. Like, so 70 to 80% death rate, it's like, oh my gosh. And because I had the car accident as a reference point, I said, sweetheart, you're focused on this 20 to 30% survival rate and that the odds are I'm going to die. I'm focusing on there's a 100% chance that I will be among the 20 to 30% of those that survive it. Right. So it's a different frame.
Right.
Right. It's like 20 to 30% of all people, including those that eat terribly, are unhealthy, keep smoke, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will do everything in my power. I will do to ensure that I'm in that 20 to 30%. Now, there's no guarantee though.
Right.
I spent many nights scared. And what if I die? And here's the craziest part, Matt. Think about this. So I was, I wrote that book, The Miracle Equation, after the miracle morning. It's unwavering faith plus extraordinary effort creates miracles. And so that was like, I was applying that to my cancer. And so unwavering faith, I had affirmations that affirmed it. But I was like, wait a minute. I still could die. People have actually, what really rocked me and took me from this like optimism to realism is Wayne Dyer, one of my favorite authors, died of leukemia. Now, I had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He died of leukemia. He's someone that I would view as far more evolved than I am.
Wow.
Right? I mean, I think he was like 65 when he passed away. And someone I looked up to. And someone that I was like, wait a minute. Wayne Dyer died of leukemia? If he couldn't beat it, knowing all that he knows about positive thinking and, affirmation, whatever, dude, how am I going to beat it?
Yeah.
So that really like shook my faith, because I went in the meeting like, nope, the only way I'm going to beat it no matter what. There's no other option. And then that really, got me second guessing myself. So anyway, but then I realized it's a strategy. Like if I'm going to increase my odds, and when I read that, I got in fear, and then I wrote affirmations to program my mind, and which to me, the mind-body connection, and there's a lot of science that proves that now, right? If you're in a fear state, it actually has chemical reactions in your body, increases your cortisol levels, and you are more likely to die of something. So I was like, all right, I can't live in fear. So I created these affirmations. Step one, affirming what I was committed to. I am committed to beating cancer and living to be 100 years old alongside Ursula and the kids. No matter what, there is no other option. And I read that over and over and over and over and over and over again because I believe that what you affirm repeatedly becomes your reality. So it was like, rather than go, well, what if I die? What if it was, I'm committed to beating cancer no matter what? And then I had a list of 5 of the most compelling reasons why. Why was I doing it for my wife, doing it for my kids, doing it for my mom and dad, doing it for myself, doing it for the people that I could inspire by my journey, right? So I had these really compelling affirmations of why I was doing it that were so compelling that when I felt like giving up and I was scared, I'm like, no, I'm committed to beating cancer for Ursula because I promised her forever and a day, and my mom and dad don't deserve to lose another child, and on and on. And then I had all my affirmations of what I would do to beat it, like how I would approach it in terms of my mindset, in terms of the supplements I was taking, in terms of the holistic protocols and practices, how I was using my miracle morning to beat cancer, like all of that. And every day I would read, it was in one page, I would read that, and it would focus my mind, my beliefs, my emotions on, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm beating cancer. I'm going to heal myself. The challenging part was I had to simultaneously prepare to die in terms of logistics, right?
Yeah.
Like it would be irresponsible as a father to be like, I'm going to beat cancer, so I'm not going to make sure all my affairs are in order. Like, no. So it was this, like, that is the craziest thing to be like, all right, I got to have this mindset where I'm going to beat cancer, and I've got to set everything up for dying. Like, what?
Yeah.
So that was challenging, but it just kept the affirmations were like the anchor. It was like, just go back to those every single day. Then I would meditate in a state of healing. I'd visualize walking my daughter down the aisle. I was reading books on beating cancer naturally. I was right. So all of the savers, all of the Miracle Morning was all focused on that objective. Yeah.
Were the kids ever like, Dad, you're going to die?
I mean, they never said that. And I think they were young enough to not, it was kind of like whatever mom and dad tell us is truth. Right. So I know in the Miracle Morning documentary, there's that scene where Ursula is crying and she's talking, and I wasn't there. I was at the hospital when she filmed that, but she was saying like, it's hard and I only tell the kids what they need to know. Right. Like I'm not, hey, there's a 80% chance dad's going to die. Right. She wasn't saying that. What was challenging is for my daughter, again, 7 years old at the time, my daughter Sophia, when she went to school and she told her class that I had cancer, one of her classmates goes, "Oh, my grandpa died from cancer."
Thanks.
So like that's that helpful. Planted that seed, but I think she probably went home and told Ursula, and Ursula said, no, if anyone's gonna be cancer, your dad, he's got that, right? So I think it was like, I think the kids were told, like, Dad's got this, this. Yeah.
And so you beat cancer, you get right back on the speaking tour, the book tour, but you do it in a much more intentional way of focusing on your family first. Mm-hmm. Now you're still on the journey of books, speaking, podcasting. What is next for Hal? Is there a new book? Is there another thing? Is there a new speech? Like, what are you working on now?
Yeah. So one thing to share is that, you mentioned me being the most positive person. I've been, the last 5 years have not been that for me. And I think that the chemo, they call it chemo brain, right? Sure. And they literally, if you can Google brain scans of people that have done chemo, and different parts of the brain are like they're not working anymore. Mm. And so in 2020, after I'd done three years of chemotherapy, I started struggling to sleep. So I was sleeping 2 to 4 hours a night on average for almost 6 months. And if anyone's ever slept 2 hours in a night, right, you're a wreck the next day. You compound that over 6 months. I was suicidal. Wow. I was delusional. I thought people were trying to kill me. Wow. Like I was, and me who could handle anything, my entire identity was falling apart. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, how am I, like, again, I was suicidal. Like I was literally thinking, I would think, how do I take my life and minimize the impact on the kids? I was trying to figure out, is there a way I can kill myself and not have it really negatively affect the kids? And I was like, okay, well, first it has to be an accident. So I got to like drive off a bridge. Okay, that's okay. Step one. Then what would I do? Well, I have so much I want to teach the kids that I haven't taught them. Okay, I know I could record a video series. Like this is literally where I was at.
Wow.
And I was desperate. I'm like every day. I'm like, what? Okay, today's the last day. I'm gonna figure it out. And I was trying everything except for I didn't want to take. I did try pharmaceuticals at one point because I was so desperate. I was trying everything natural, sleep supplement, cannabis, you name it. But it got so bad, and I finally, after about 6 months, I emailed my doctor. I'm like, hey doc, how long am I on this chemo and all these pharmaceuticals? He said, as long as you can tolerate it, I think you should stay on. And I'm like, I want to die, bro. Yeah. I can't tolerate it.
Yeah.
And I'm done. I'm done. And I quit cold turkey. It was May of 2020. I quit cold turkey. And then using natural, and it was all the medicine I was on. Once I got off it, I started to be able to sleep a little bit more. But I had ingrained so much anxiety and depression, right? I had created neural pathways that were very deep that to this day, 5 years later, I still have low-level depression. It's like every day is I'm having to use all my own tools. And by the way, here's what I love about that, Matt, is I've had this superpower my whole life of being so positive no matter what. And people are like, I don't get it. And I didn't get not getting. I'm like, yeah. They're like someone's depressed or struggling. I'm like, dude, just say you can't change it and focus on the positive. It's like I had been so positive, I didn't get it. And in 2020, when I was asking, like, God, why is this happening to me? Like, when is it ever gonna get better? Well, the answer that I got is, this is how a large majority of human beings are going through life: scared, depressed, and anxious. And you need to go through it at the most extreme level and then get yourself out of it so that you can help those people.
Wow.
And so my answer to your question on what's next is I'm writing a book called The Miracle Life. And it's the third in the trilogy, right? The Miracle Morning, The Miracle Equation, and The Miracle Life. And I'm living it right now. I don't feel like I am qualified to publish it yet. It's almost like I'm journaling, I'm living it. I'm still working through all of my mental and emotional challenges. I was at a 1 out of 10, a 2 out of 10 back in 2020. I'm probably at a 7 out of 10, right? But I want to get to I want to get to a 9, into this place where I'm like back to where I used to be, having survived the mental and emotional trauma, right? So yeah, at least I have that reference point.
So when you were going through that dark space, did you communicate it with Ursula? Did you kind of put on a facade and not really?
No,
She knew.
Yeah, she knew. I had to leave I started sleeping in a different bed, because if she would come to bed and she would, let's say I'd been asleep for a couple hours, and she would tiptoe and try to crawl into bed, and any little movement. What was crazy is, this was my nightly pattern, is not only did I have trouble sleeping, when I did fall asleep, whenever I woke up, and I don't know what this was, my body would flood with like cortisol. Wow. It was like literally like someone came in and blew a siren in my ear and shook me and threatened to kill me. That's how and it was like, oh, yeah. I am wide awake. I am wired. There's no way I'm going back to bed. And I feel stressed and anxious and out of control.
And mad.
Yeah. Why did you wake me up? And so I moved into another room.
Wow.
And it got to the point where at night, like at dinner time, I'd be looking at the clock and I'd go, oh, bedtime's in like 2 or 3 hours, and just anticipating the hell that I was going to go through. And my hand would start shaking.
Wow.
And so our marriage barely survived it.
Wow.
Barely survived it. Yeah.
But she stuck with you. She hung in there.
She stuck with me through the 2008 financial crash, through the cancer, through the post, traumatic. I mean, literally, it was PTSD, right? I mean, and I was diagnosed with that actually when I was like, they're like, you have PTSD from cancer. I'm like, but I think it's from not sleeping, because even you saw like in the worst of the cancer, I was like, I can handle this.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could explain was the change in my brain chemistry from A, the chemo, and then B, the 2 to 4 hours of sleep for 6 months, right? That, I think that messes up anybody. And so
now you do the dishes and feed the animals.
That's right, dude. Yeah. Now I try to, I took last summer off to be with the kids. Like I try to only work when the kids are in school.
Very cool.
This summer we're doing our first trip to Europe. We've never done a Europe trip. So we're going to Rome, Poland, where my wife's from, to stay with her family, which is going to be cool, and save us on hotel for a week. And then Paris for a week. So we've never, and now the kids are older. It's like now or never. Like next year, my daughter's driving. She has her permit now. She'll be driving, So I'm like, let's
do it. So how long you go? 3 weeks?
3 weeks. Yeah.
Good for you, man. So you're writing this new book. You're not quite ready to publish it, but you're working on it.
Yeah.
You're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Some days 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I used to be a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
And so it is a weird thing where I'm like, why am I not? I feel like, it's like I know what it's like, and it's almost like I don't even remember what did it feel like to be that happy for my whole life. And I was going through. That's the thing. It's not like I was happy just because it's based on circumstances. Like my sister died when I was in front of me when I was 8 years old, right? And then at 20, the car accident, and I almost, right? Like, so I went through these really traumatic experiences, but I always had this bulletproof mindset. And I feel like for the next evolution, I do feel like I'm on a mission to help people. And for the next evolution, like, okay, now, like you've gone through these physical challenges, which also build credibility in being able to help people and impact people. Because like, well, dude, if he went through that and he got through it, right? So I've like feel like this is the journey I'm on. And then it was like, this piece of the mental and emotional rock bottom anguish, like wanting to die for a long period of time, and then not do, like, now that part I could never relate to people. I lacked empathy because, like I said, I didn't get, I'm like, well, just snap your fingers, be happy, right? Yeah. I didn't get it. And because it was this superpower that I had developed or whatever. And then it was like, now you're going to go to the depths of hell. Wow. Mentally and emotionally, so you can bring other people out of that as you're, once you get out of it. And so I'm out of it, for sure, out of that dark spot. But I want to get back to where I was having.
What do you think's holding you back? Time?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, it's not doing what I know I need to do, right? Meaning, like, I already have all the tools, like the Miracle Morning, the Savers, and I do my Miracle Morning every day. But it's very scattered. That's actually what it is. So the miracle morning is the most effective when you have a laser focus in terms of outcome. So in 2008, I was losing my home, deep in debt, lost half my income. 100% of my energy was like, I've got to double my income. I got to get back to where I was. And I did it in 2 months by focusing all 6 of the Savers practices on one singular outcome. 2 years later, I wanted to run an ultra marathon, which felt impossible because I'd never run before. I focused all 6 Savers on running an ultra marathon, and I ran 52 consecutive miles. Diagnosed with cancer. I focused all 6 Savers on beating cancer, right? Now, even though I know better, right? Like, I'm not even that I know better. It's just that, like, my miracle morning is like a little bit on my business and a little bit on being a better dad and a little bit on being a better husband. I need to focus 100% of it. And I had this breakthrough literally the other day.
Wow.
Was like all 6 Savers need to be on this miracle life concept, on optimizing your mental and emotional well-being, right? Independent of everything, circumstances, challenges, stresses, whatever. In fact, the subtitle for the book, I don't know if this is it, but it came to me the other night, was The Miracle Life from Stressed Out to Blissed Out, or how to go from stressed out to blissed out, right? Because I've been stressed out for 5 years, anxious, fearful, etc. And I want to get to that state of blissed out where you're just like, and I've been there. Yeah. And I have glimpses of it now, but I want to get to sustaining it. And so,
well, and what's interesting, like when you fly in an airplane, they say in the event the cabin loses pressure, put your mask on first before helping others.
Yeah.
And I think at times in our lives, we think that the way to help others is to focus on being a good dad, while focus on being a good husband, while focusing on basketball, and then maybe getting my mental health back. But in reality, once you have your mental health back, everything else will follow. Totally. Everything else will fall in place.
Yeah. And I wrote that the other day. I was like, my mental health is, and I've written that many times, but it's like that affects everybody subtly, even, right? Like if dad's not at a 10 or 9 or whatever, right? Then like they feel that, And again, I'm at a 7, so I mean, I think I would say my kids are probably like, Dad's really positive all the time to a fault, right? But it's like it's the internal. Mental health is often an internal struggle, right?
Right.
So, or it always is.
It always, yeah. And the Miracle Morning has probably impacted 4 million people, 5 million people. How many?
I think we sold 3 million-ish book. Well, and if you add the series, so 4 million. 4 million.
So you've touched 4 million lives. What's the coolest story you've heard on the journey?
Oh man, they're infinite stories. And I don't know that there's one that stands out. I usually think about the ones that we featured in the Miracle Morning documentary because, they were just so powerful. One of them was Mike Eaton, who lost 80 pounds, right? He'd obese his whole life, lost 80 pounds doing the Miracle Morning. Well, not a diet book, but it was like it's a self-optimization book. And this is an example of how whatever you focus your Miracle Morning on, you get the result, right? One of my favorite stories, which I opened up the new edition, the new Miracle Morning updated and expanded edition came out last year. And I opened it with this story of Keith Minnick, who was a former director of business development for Turner Home Video or whatever, CNN something. And Keith, his son died 3 hours after being born. Wow. And it sent Keith into a deep depression. And it was for about a year. And he had read books on overcoming depression and dealing with loss of children. And a friend of his recommended the Miracle Morning. And his very first Miracle Morning, it completely shifted his mindset. And he's like, I don't have to be depressed anymore. I'm in control of my mental and emotional well-being. And so that, to me, is an example of how fast it can transform your life, your perspective, right? And then he talks, he sent me all his story, and he said, I've been doing it for 10 years now. Wow. I still do it every day. And I'm still learning, growing, evolving, and being a better version of myself for my family and for my business. And he started his own business and left, his corporate job. But to me, it's like, whoa, what a beautiful example of how fast the Miracle Morning can transform your life. And 10 years later, it's, and I'm also, of course, living example. 2 months of Miracle Morning doubled my income, and now 17 years later, I'm still doing it.
And it's not just impacted people in the United States. Like, you've gotten to hear stories around the world.
Yeah, that was one of the cool moments is when it came out in France and it became a bestseller out there, the publisher reached out and like, we want to fly you out here to do a media tour in France. It's like, that'd be amazing. And so they flew me and Ursula first class, got to sleep on the way there, right? And then it was this whirlwind media tour. I had the translator that like Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, all the big stars use when they do media tours in France. So I had an earpiece in my ear and I'm on the shows, right? And so it was wild where, the French newscasters they're asking me a question and then he's in real time translating it into my ear, and I'm looking at them trying to watch their mouth, which is saying something different than I'm hearing. It was wild, man. And then I've got to answer, right? But anyway, the point of that was actually the culmination of the tour was a book signing at a world famous or a famous bookstore in Paris, and there was a line of like, I don't know, 150 people out the door. And they all have French accents, of course, right? They're all from France. And they're all telling me their individual stories of how the Miracle Morning that's probably, I'm terrible at accents, but it changed my, it saved my business. It changed my life. I remember one guy, all my employees have read the book and they do it, and it improved our productivity as a company. And I'm like, and then there's these personal, like, it helped me in my divorce. And it's profound. But that was the surreal moment, because I'm like, these people, like, never in my life when I wrote that little book in my living room and self-published it did I ever imagine that people on the other side of the world would transform their lives by doing that practice.
And you just shared it vulnerably. Like you just shared it to serve. It wasn't like you didn't do that saying, I'm going to build a speaking career using this book.
It wasn't a book idea. It wasn't a book idea. I mean, it was like when I taught it to my coaching clients, I go, I have a responsibility to share this with people because it's working for everybody I've shared it with. And how can I do that? I guess I have to write a book. And it took me 3 years. I'm a very slow writer. And then I self-published it, and I had no audience. So I never was like, there was a part of me, like the optimist in me was like, dude, this could change the world. Like, everyone needs this.
Yeah.
But the insecure me was like, who am I to write a book and convince people to wake up early? And now, you mentioned the Miracle Morning app. Like, the Miracle Morning app has grown. We have like 33,000 users now. And the trajectory of it, it's like it started with 15,000 users year one. I mean, it just and we're on this is our third year. But that's something that, like, another thing I never imagined that it would become like an app that people are using, and in the App Store it has a 4.9 out of 5-star rating. And as an author or as a creator, and that's what I look at. Yeah. Right. You publish a book. It's like, what are the ratings? What are reading the reviews? What are people saying? And then the app, it's like, wow, people really, it's really making an impact for them.
Do you still have haters though, or like they're the?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. Well, 4.6 out of 5 stars on Amazon means that there's the 1-star reviews. And in the beginning, man, those used to. I'm numb to it now. Yeah. But because there's also enough where I'm like, dude, this is. I'm like, you didn't do it right.
Yeah, you're one of 4 million.
Yeah,
like, exactly. I think it's okay. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, but no, in the beginning, I was like, "What? Oh my God, they hated the book. How could?" And what I did, by the way, this is important, I think, for anyone that owns a business, is I didn't just dismiss them. I kept a list of copy and pasted every negative review I had, and I looked for common threads. And because I was self-published, I could update the book along the way. And so whenever I would see a common, oh yeah, like 3 people have said this one thing, which means there's probably 300 that aren't saying anything. So I would go in and change it. And so I just kept making call the book the product. I kept making the product better and better and better by listening to user feedback and then implementing it. So,
and then did you reach out to the haters and say, hey, thanks for the feedback, I updated it?
I think I did. I used to comment. I don't think you can comment anymore. You
can't. You used to be able to.
Yeah, I used to comment on all the reviews. Hey, I changed that. Yeah, thank you. And in the app, you can in app reviews now. So our team, we do the same thing with the app, right? We have in the app, somebody can give feedback. Hey, this is annoying. This is confusing, whatever. And so our app team is constantly, we're making it better every single month.
So I ask people this question all the time. It's probably my favorite question to ask people, but you've gone to hell and back. You've faced death and come back. Now you're playing basketball, doing pickleball, doing all this fun stuff, but certainly in your life, there's still areas where you're flirting with disaster. So as it sits today, where is Hal Elrod most flirting with disaster?
I mean, to me, it's like it's financially, always. Health optimized, family dialed in. We have, we got our challenges. But I feel like it's financial. And I'm always trying to maximize my impact, and I'm not the numbers guy, right? So it's like, hey, let's bring on all these team members, and then I'm like, wait, why are our bank accounts empty?
What happened?
And that's where Jeremy Rising, I mentioned, a few times. Hopefully he listens to this. He got some props, but he's helped. Like, he thinks through that. He's a very detail-oriented person. Like, Hal, no to that, right? He's almost like a CFO, no to that. And so So that for me is always it. And having gone through the 2008 thing where I was like, dude, my business is growing. I'm building this coaching business. Everything's great. And then like, felt like overnight. And I became that has created this deep seated, like that could happen again where everything seems fine. And it almost, I don't know about you, but it seems like 5 years ago, I've been waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I mean, it's been for four or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, are they propped up? Like what's happening?
Well, I mean, they certainly are propped up. Look at how much money the government printed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly bigger games being played here.
Yeah.
The question is just how do you position yourself best?
Exactly. Will they pull the rug out from and because like in 2006, it was I had bought my house.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the housing market, now it's worth 50% of what I bought it for. Yeah. And so ever since then, I've been like, when's that going to happen again? And Mark, do you watch Mark Moss at all?
Yeah.
I watched a great video by Mark Moss. He's like, hey, for all you that are waiting for the housing market to fall out, here's why it might not. He's the best at showing all the data that supports that conclusion. So he's like, it may never go back.
What's your take on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin? Do you play with that game at all?
I do. I'm not the expert, but I've been buying it for the last few years, and I still buy it. Kicking myself though, I started buying it at I think it was at 9,000 or something.
Yeah.
And then when it hit its first, and I had probably $100,000, and when it hit its first dip, I got scared. Right? Like I'm not I just got scared. And I sold it all, and I'm like, oh, that'd be worth $1 million right now.
Now that you've done the math.
Yeah, exactly. So but no, I'm not deep into it. I buy mostly Bitcoin. A little bit of, and then just like for fun, like a little bit of throwaway money for a little XRP. And,
Yeah. Well, man, if people want to find the book, obviously it's on Amazon, but where can they follow you, Hal Elrod?
MiracleMorning.com is, I always say that's the hub. That's the best place to go. MiracleMorning.com. You can go straight to the App Store and download the app. You can go to Amazon and download the book, right? You can go to YouTube, watch the movie. MiracleMorning.com will, that's the hub. And then from there, you can find the app, find the book, find the movie, find my podcast, all of that.
Well, thanks so much for being on, man. I appreciate you.
Dude, it was a blast, Matt. So great to see you, brother.
Good to see you.